Hello, everyone. I'm Tina. This is Dan, and we're from estateagentsuccess.com. And today, one of our very successful clients, Mark Heneghen, is actually joining us to talk about his brand new agency of how his brand new agency of 2 weeks actually gained an audience of 1,800 qualified leads and starting to have conversations with local homeowners directly through the social media. So thanks for coming on today, Mark. It's really lovely to see you.
You're welcome. Nice to see you again, Dan and Tina.
So are you okay if we have a few questions so we can talk about what's happened? And thanks so much for being here. So would you mind just sharing with us actually who you are? And then we'll ask a few questions. Is that all right?
Absolutely. So I'm Mark Heneghen, been in the estate agency industry for 30 years, launched Bespoke Agent because I felt myself that there was a different and better way of doing it. Needed to get the agency off the ground and got introduced to you two, and here we are.
That's so cool. So could I just actually ask what some of the frustrations and problems that you were actually experiencing before you even began working with us?
Yeah, I mean, getting a brand new brand out there, I knew was always going to be a struggle. I had started to build up a social media presence that I thought may be enough to actually get me out into the world. I had 1,200 followers, and I've dabbled with Facebook and boosted posts and done my own. But then when it was like the real world of here we are, here's bespoke estate agents going out to the world, I carried on doing what I was doing, and I was just almost lost in the process of, I'd never heard of retargeting before. I thought I had to all my cookies set up correctly on the website and that would take care of it. But it didn't. So I was spending money and seeing nothing for my investment, basically.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah. So, I mean, there are so many marketing agencies out there. Well, what made you want to work with us?
Two things. One, I personally feel that video is very, very important, and it does two things. It gets my personality across, and people engage more with video, and you do things, from what I could see, differently to all the other companies that are out there, and it's a bit like the direct mail. Loads of companies that do it, but no matter which one you go with, you can pretty much guarantee at week 12 there's going to be a raft of letters all written the same way with just on different headed paper. And I felt the same with social media, that instant valuations and all of that are very, very samey. We're not the same as other agents, and I felt it was important to get that message across. And I just like the way that you put yourself out there in front of the camera and lived what you teach, basically.
Yeah. Okay, so I was just actually thinking, what was actually the first problem that we solved once we started working together, do you reckon?
I think the first problem was with Dan explaining everything and me getting a true understanding of the mechanisms of meta advertising. It was really good to actually see. I could see the back end of it, but to see how it all works and what it all means and what it translates to. Is that good? Is that not? So the message that I was sending out was going out to the right people, and that was important, that I could get a grasp and an understanding of it.
Yeah, I think that was quite tricky as well, isn't it? Just most people just pop things out there and you have no idea what it is that they've actually achieved if they don't know how to look at the KPIs.
Yeah,
and we find we get lost with it because it is like a minefield at the back of Facebook. I agree. And I remember when I first started, I was like, what do all these numbers actually mean? 4 years on, it actually means something, doesn't it? It's a bit like a jigsaw puzzle.
I mean, it's part of the strategy.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I'm old and wise enough to know that, and I got it from Chris Watkin, where just because someone doesn't like it doesn't mean that they don't like it. That again, a lot of us are obsessed with either getting the followers and getting the likes on our post is the only way we can think, oh, do people like that message that I'm sending out? But likes is irrelevant. And again, I thought building up my followers, that every time, naively, when I put a post out, those 1,200 people would see my post. But again, I bow down to your greater knowledge, but I think it's about 3 or 4% of them will actually see it.
That's if you're lucky at the moment, because it's actually getting less because there's so many people on social media.
It's very imprecise, having followers, but like for your 1,200 followers, if you post once, maybe 3-4% of people might see it. That's a lot of work to get everybody to see at least one post. But with your audience of 1,800 that we've built over this last month, it will only cost you like 10 quid to get in front of all of those people with your video market reports. And now we can get into one of my favorite things, which is not only just getting likes and followers and everything that gives us dopamine, but what do people think about Mark? What would people think about talking with Mark and working with Mark? And do they see Mark as someone they can just have a conversation with about moving home? I guess that moves to, what was the biggest gold nugget you discovered as we were working together? Like something you could share with someone in your same position who was watching this video right now.
I think it really is believe in the process. Thankfully, I wasn't adverse to doing videos when we first engaged, so I didn't have to learn how to do videos. But a lot of or all of the time, I didn't really have a script. I'd go out, ad lib 30. I knew what I wanted to say, and I would just say it, edit it all together. But working with you, you gave me that structure, and it was believing in that structure and getting used to doing it and following the process, and then actually doing that and seeing the rewards off the back of it, I think was the golden nugget. Plus, not my money just going into the ether, me not knowing where it had gone and what I'd achieved out of spending all that money.
That's so cool. That is so cool. Can I just ask, actually, how has your life changed since you started working with us?
And it's just really positive to actually see something grow. That to see the numbers come through, and it's not a vanity, because again, a lot of people are caught up with social media. It's all about me. It's not. It's about my business and my business getting out into Reading and the surrounding area and talking to people and seeing that I produce something or we produce something together, put it out, and people are engaging with it, which again gives you that confidence that what I'm saying is kind of hitting home with people. And I can see that by the length of time that they're watching it. It's not, 3 seconds because it's popped out and they've gone, that they want to listen to what I have to say about the Reading property market.
Yeah, I feel so many people get caught up in the likes and follows are people actually paying attention to what you're saying?
Many people will be watching in the background. That's the thing. And we find that they will pop up when they're ready. They'll come to you when they're ready, and you'll actually have a conversation with them. They'll say, "Oh, I loved all your videos," and you're like, "I wish you'd pressed love at the time because that would have made me feel better." But you'll find they'll come to you, and they haven't liked a single post. They've not put a single comment on, but they'll start to tell you all about it, and that's what I found fascinating for my own business. I was like, "Oh my goodness, I wasn't doing the right thing," and then luckily we know what KPIs to look at, so we know people are watching. And so that gives you some confidence. But, when you find people come back to you and go, "I've been watching your stuff, you're good at this, aren't you?" Or something like, you go, "Oh, gosh, people are actually looking."
And engaging and having a conversation with you. And to me, that's far more important than any likes that you would get. Because if people don't like you, they wouldn't watch it. Exactly. And again, it's appealing to an audience that I appeal to. Because not everyone's going to like me, and that's absolutely fine, and that's the way of the world. So you don't want to be sat in front of somebody that thinks you're a complete idiot and never going to use you.
Especially money to do that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, if you pay money.
Sorry.
And especially, you don't want to pay money to get in front of those people who aren't going to pay attention or use you.
Yeah, that's one of the best.
Absolutely. You might as well throw it out the window, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I love the bit where you saying that your postman came up the other day and he was like, he's saying, "I've seen you in my Facebook feed." That tickled me. That did. It's really funny.
And it's joyous, right? That it's proof that, you know, it's working and it's going out to someone that lives in my town that has watched the video all the way through. And yeah, I mean, it's not, again, for my own vanity that you want to go out and be TikTok famous as a, you know, I just want the ability to communicate. And again, in the world in which we live, I've had conversations, one-sided conversations, but with 1,800 people. It's like, well, how many leaflets would I have to put through? How many doors would I have to put leaflets through to get that kind of engagement? It's just incredible, and I don't get cold and I don't get wet doing it.
It's really quick, isn't it, as well? That's the other thing I love about it. It's like so quick just to do. Imagine if you were delivering those leaflets, or if you'd had to pay for those to be printed and organised, or just doing a quick 5-minute video, sometimes only 3-minute video, sometimes only 60-second video. It's so much easier, isn't it?
Absolutely, particularly where we introduce the teleprompter into it now, where it cuts down on the editing. It ensures that I've still got the ability to dialogue as I want to through the process, but to follow that structure where you get the engagement, you get the hook, you get people to listen, and then you get the important information across to them. And I can do that in my own terminology, in my own language, still within the structure with the teleprompter.
Yes. I suppose, where do you think you would be right now if you hadn't taken action and we hadn't worked together?
I suppose I would have still continued and tried to learn myself, but the you know, being taught and self-learning are two totally different things. And you know, I wouldn't have given up, because I do believe that, again, I'm old enough to remember Yellow Pages, and I look at social media now as the Yellow Pages of 2023. Either people go there for recommendations, or they're there and the advertising side of it is where you are going to get most of your business. So I certainly wouldn't have given up on it. I think I'd have been a huge amount poorer if I hadn't met with you two, because the amount of money that I would have had to spend to learn. And as I say, my biggest challenge was I didn't know what all the numbers meant and how to get back in front of those people that had engaged with me. So I think I would have probably been a year down the line to get what I've got in a month with you guys. Is probably where I would have been.
That's incredible. Okay, so I guess my last question is going to be, if there is anyone watching that is on the fence about working with us, what do you reckon you would say to them?
Just do it. You know, you give. So even if you haven't done video before, even if you don't know what to say, you don't need to worry about it, because you give the script across, you guide. So the amount of times that I did a video, sent it over to you, it's like, what do you think of that? And again, not constructive feedback is good. That, you know, most people are worried that they're going to do a video, put it out, and they're either going to get comments or people aren't going to like it. You ensure that you give the script all the tools, how to do it, how your body language, how to project yourself, and make sure it's a polished article of getting it out. So you take care of the video side, and you also get it out to the right audience. So do it, and you know, believe in the process. That don't expect, you might get, you know, after a couple of weeks the results, but it's like everything, there's no shortcut to long-term success.
Yeah, that's so true. A lot of people believe there are silver bullets because that's what they're being sold in, you know, try to get, you know, and then what do they call? They say the long game is the shortcut and the shortcut is the long game, or something like that, isn't it? I think it's the other way around. But it's so true, isn't it? Because if you pay a lot of money just to get something you think is going to work really quickly, you find out very, very quickly, actually, that's not true, isn't it?
Yeah, and you know what you want as an estate agent is people that obviously are going to use you, but more importantly, listen to your advice. Because if they listen to you, the whole process is so much easier for them and for me as an estate agent. So the big advantage is that they've seen me, heard me. If they engage with me, they obviously like what I've got to say and how I say it and how I look. And then when you sit down, they are going to listen to your advice on pricing, on staging, on marketing. So they're going to get a better result, and B, my life is going to be so much easier, because how much easier is it to sell a house that comes on at the right price, that cleans and looks after it and listens to your advice, and the photos look absolutely amazing. So the net result is I will have to do less work, and they're not going to quibble over what I charge them, because they know it's the right value for money for them. So as I say, just do it.